Okay, go ahead.
Senate Bill 61 is a measure that we've seen introduced here numerous years. Its sole purpose is to try to undo the workers' comp reforms that were put in place in the early 1990s. Those reforms were ones that Connecticut was a leader in instituting, but at the end of the day, those reforms saved money. They streamlined processes, they made government processes more efficient, and they enabled the Connecticut workers' compensation market to remain healthy. In Senate Bill 61, the intent seems to be to allow workers' comp claimants to go to any and every doctor's appointment they choose without having the prerequisite of getting employer or insurance pre-approval. That is a gatekeeping function that was put in place for good reason. Where you take it away, you will, by virtue of not having any gatekeeper, increase costs for the state's employers.
And some of the workers will say that by not being allowed to get treatment right away, in some cases that their injuries are getting worse, they're getting disabilities and things like that. How would you respond to this?
I heard that, but I think we should be conscious about not hanging everyone in the town square for the sins of a few. A lot of the anecdotal stories you heard may be particular to that individual and not necessarily indicative of an industry-wide problem. You cannot afford to take away the gatekeeping function, and it's a cost-saving measure, an administrative burden measure, and all the other benefits that come with it. You cannot afford to throw that out just because one or two people claim that their cases were delayed. There are so many processes and rules and regulations in place right now to ensure that cases and medical treatment are not unduly delayed, so it's not as if there aren't already protections on the books.
And so again, just explain the importance of those gatekeeper functions, that pre-approval process.
The pre-approval process is essential to workers' comp, but also to the operation of a lot of other medical care networks. The purpose of having employers and insurers pre-approve it is to make sure that routine medical exams don't get highly invasive treatments. We never want a situation where everyone gets a spinal tap for what should be a scratch on the back, figuratively speaking. We make sure, by virtue of having the employer or insurer look at it first, that the claimant is getting the necessary and appropriate medical treatment.
Okay, so in this case, you're saying that for the most part, the workers' compensation system works fine the way it is right now?
Absolutely. Connecticut has been a leader in the area of workers' comp for at least 20 years. Our workers' comp market is healthy. Our processes are leading the charge and have been the model for other states' reforms. There's no reason to mess with what's good enough.